Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dr. Cidambi. Today we are going to talk about how to tackle anxiety. I don't know about you, sometimes I feel like the anxiety creep in. I need some practical ways to chill out. Totally, that's why we are doing this video, all about calming anxiety. It is, you know, there are some great techniques. There are some breathing exercises, grounding techniques, even ways to reframe that anxious thought. It's a whole toolkit for your mind. So I've heard a lot of mindful breathing that helps with anxiety. To be honest, most people don't understand what happens when you do this breathing in your body. Is it like really a biological thing going on? Is it just you're calming down? It's definitely a biological thing happening. The 4-7-8 breathing technique, it's basically you breathe in for count of 4, you hold the breath for 7, and then you exhale for 8. What it does it kind of stimulates a vagus nerve. It's a superhighway connecting your brain to your body, and it plays a huge role in your parasympathetic system, which is the opposite of fight or flight system, rest. All right. So when you do this 4-7-8 breathing, you're sending a signal through that vagus nerve to slow your heart rate down, to ease muscle tension, and generally shift your body to a calmer state. And, would you even imagine like breathing is so powerful, to calm your anxiety. Besides that, there are other things, 5-4-2-3-1 method. So how is this going to help with anxiety? When you feel really anxious, your thoughts are racing. This technique brings you back to the present moment by using your senses. So you start by noticing 5 things that you see around you, and 4 things that you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So all your 5 senses are being used. So it's more grounding. It's a mental anchor pulling you back, and it shifts your attention from worries into like really the worries, and it puts it back. So another grounding technique that I can talk about is the muscle relaxation. So it's all about becoming aware of the tension in your body and release it. It starts with your toes, tense them up tight for a few seconds, and then you release it and notice the difference. And you work your way up your body, tensing and releasing each muscle group. You're teaching your body to relax, muscle relaxation. Because when you're anxious, you're going to hold a lot of tension in your muscle, and that tension can really give a feedback to your anxiety, and then the vicious cycle goes on. By consciously calming your muscles, you're calming your system, because it's a mind-body connection. It's all connected. So breathing and grounding techniques. So we talked about those too. But what about the mind? That's where we use the mindfulness. You would have heard this a million times, but we still don't know what it is. Mindfulness is paying attention to the present moment without judging, right? So instead of getting into the thoughts and feelings, you just observe them. You create a space between yourself and your anxiety. You're not fighting it. You're not resisting it. And precisely you're watching the clouds shift by. You just don't control them. You're just watching, observe. It takes time and patience. So you're reframing all these thoughts. Challenging negative thoughts and practicing compassion is the key. So let's start with challenging negative thoughts. So often when we are anxious, our thoughts spiral out of control, and we can think about catastrophizing everything. But the key is to pause when you notice those thoughts and ask yourself, is this thought really true? What is the evidence for and against it? And then you can start reframing your thoughts with more balancing, explanation. So this is tough, but you can always say to yourself, I've handled tough situations in the past. So compassion, the same kindness that you would offer a friend. So often we are much harder than ourselves than to others. So next time you're anxious, try talking to yourself as if you're talking to your friend. It's acknowledging your feelings without judging, and offering some support. You being your best friend, you bring in compassion to your own self. So visualization techniques. Now, those are pretty powerful. So, it's the visualization. How does it impact? Our brains are amazing. They don't always distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. So think about how your heart races when you're watching a scary movie, even though you know it's not real. That's the power of visualization. By vividly imagining yourself in a calming environment or successfully handling a stressful situation, you are essentially creating that mental rehearsal. Your brain thinks it's really happening in a way. And that has a real impact on your confidence and the confidence that you develop. So it's like a mental pep talk before the tough game. You're like really preparing your brain. So we have covered a lot of stuff: breathing, grounding, positive self-talk, visualization. It's a lot, but it's also very empowering. So we have all these tools that are easily available, and you are not at the mercy of your anxiety. You have choices. That is important. You have choices. You're not alone in this, and you have the power to make positive changes. And if one thing that I want you to do is just pick one technique that resonates with you and commit to practicing it for a few minutes each day. Even if a few minutes can make a big difference, consistency is key. So deep breathing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercises. Those are some of the great places to start. So, give it a try. And there's a small changes that you can make, and it can really get you to become successful in managing your anxiety. All right. On that note, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.